Hello and welcome to Look North.
Our top story tonight. A mother's frustration that the law still hasn't changed 6 years after her son was killed by a drunk tractor driver. We'll be talking to Waleed's mum, still campaigning for justice for her son's death.
Also tonight, Nigel Farage kicks off the break.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. First tonight, a mother from West Yorkshire has spoken of her frustration that changes to drink drive laws after her son's death still haven't been implemented.
Pamela Whitlam's 11-year-old son Harry was knocked over and killed by a drunken tractor driver 6 years ago. The driver could only be prosecuted under health and safety laws because the incident happened on private land. We'll hear from Pamela, who we met earlier, in a moment. But first, Hannah Gray looks back at the case.
Harry Whitlam was a live...
Pamela, thanks for joining us on Look North. You've been campaigning 6 years now. How frustrating is it that nothing's happened so far?
Well, since we started, things seem to move along quite nicely. We were invited in 2017 to go meet the Transport Minister after a debate with the Minister about these changes in the law. And we wrote to all the MPs and got fantastic response and support from those towards what we're doing. But suddenly, later on in 2017, things seem to halt and come to I wouldn't say a stop, but a slow down.
And is that down in part, do you think, to the Brexit situation?
I think hugely it's down to Brexit. Yeah. It seems to have taken over everything that's going on at the moment. And it's just, it's put us on the back boiler. We're raring to go. We're waiting to get on with things, but at the moment Brexit's taking priority over everything in Parliament, that issues like ours aren't getting looked into just yet.
So let's talk about the law that you want to change. Do you think there's a difference between somebody driving farm machinery on farmland and someone reversing their car into the garage on their drive after they've had a couple of drinks?
No, I don't think there's any difference at all. To be honest, I just don't think anybody should be behind the wheel of a vehicle when they've had a drink, whether they're on private land, public highway or anywhere. I just think it's irresponsible and that people shouldn't really do it. You know, you don't know whether it's a young child, it could be your own child that's on that driveway. And if your mind's not fully aware of what you're doing at any time, God forbid what the consequences to that might be.
And clearly you don't want anybody else to have to go through what you've gone through. Just tell us a bit about Harry. What was he like?
He was certainly fun. He was mischievous. He was fun. He was Harry. You know, he was unique. He was different. He was lovable. He was playful. He had his moments. He was a typical little boy, and he's just missed so much by us all.
How much of a toll has all of this and the campaigning taken on you?
It's been difficult. It's been really difficult because there's nothing I'd like more than to... It's like a legacy. It's like a legacy in Harry's name, and we'd love to be able to progress, make these changes. I'm not 100% what those changes will be or whether ours will actually be included. But changes, I know, will be made because it can be a regret for life. Just think before you drink, before you drive.
Pamela, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we asked the Department for Transport to respond to Pamela's campaign, but they've been unable to provide a statement today.
Next tonight, the Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage chose our region to start a nationwide tour as the general election campaign gets underway.
Mr Farage has been visiting a boxing gym in Bolsover. 70% of people in the town voted to leave the European Union in 2016. Well, our political editor James Vincent was ringside and joins us now from Bolsover. James, why did...
Police have increased patrols in Liversedge after a double shooting last night. A 22-year-old man remains in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries after the incident on Huddersfield Road. A 27-year-old man who was also shot. Disruption to students is minimal.
Now, a businessman from Barnsley is one step closer to realising his dream of creating the fastest car in the world. Ian Warhurst is in South Africa testing his car Bloodhound. It's just recorded its highest speed yet, 491 miles an hour.
The car will be fitted with a rocket next year in the hope of breaking the sound barrier and beating the current land speed record of 763 miles per hour. We're watching the testing and reporting on it for the BBC is Jonathan Amos. He joined us earlier from Haxkeen Pan in the Kalahari Desert in South Africa. Lucky him. I asked him what the conditions were like.
Well, it's been hot.
Thank you very much. Now, Phil, tell me, where would your money go if you hit the jackpot on the lottery?
Where would you like it to go? I would take a nice break from this place, that's for sure.
Sounds good.
Head away to some romantic paradise somewhere in the sun. Now, cast your mind back 25 years, National Lottery fever gripped the nation with people queuing to play the first ever game.
I remember it well. It created more than 5,500 millionaires. But how lucky has Yorkshire been?
It's time to release those big money balls.
Now, in 2.5 decades, Leeds has seen a total of
61 millionaires.
In York.
65 people.
Have hit the jackpot since it started.
Doncaster has had
74 millionaires.
including 21 in the last 3 years.
But our big winner has been Sheffield with
109 millionaires.
putting it in the top 5 luckiest postcodes in the whole country.
Olivia Richards been to meet some of the lucky ones, including one woman who won £7.5 million.
North.
Now, next tonight, a grandfather from Halifax who was left paralysed after a cycling accident has become a children's author after being inspired to help his young grandson understand his disability.
Brian Abrams' books features like the granddads, and they are with us now. What a lovely idea. How did you come up with this?
Well, I was a bit worried, I suppose, that one day he might turn around and say, well, why are you different to everybody else? Why aren't you walking? So I thought I'd write a silly story where I told him I got attacked by a lion, didn't I, in the jungle. He didn't believe a word of that. But we just turned it into a fun story, and then a few people read it and said, well, this is quite good. Why don't you let other people see it? That was 3.5 years ago, and it's taken until now to get the stories properly illustrated. And we've published our first book on Friday.
I suppose the proof is in the pudding. Okay. Charles, just tell us, what are your granddad's books like? Are they any good?
Yeah, they're really good. I think they don't really. I don't really think they could get any better, but they sometimes could. But they could, but they couldn't.
Did he pay you to say
I'll pay you later. Well, his teacher read it to the class yesterday, didn't she? And they seemed to like it, so that was good fun.
What did your friends say to you about it?
They said, well done, that was an amazing story, and...
Did they say, I can't believe that you feature in this book?
Yeah.
Because this is you, isn't it?
Yeah, they basically said exactly that.
Now, my biggest question is, who is this little fella here?
It's Barney, my dog.
This is actually your actual dog? And what's his role in the book?
He does all sorts, doesn't he?
Yeah, basically bouncing around and making mischief.
And Brian, the whole point of this is that the proceeds are going to charity as well. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, the illustrator and myself have funded it because we're doing it ourselves. But if we do end up making any money from it at all, then it's all going to be split between the Spinal Injuries Association and a charity called Backup, who do loads of stuff with people who've had a spinal injury. So we're trying to support them. But we're just trying to raise awareness as well. We'd like to go and read this in schools, and because each book says a little bit about what it's like to be in a wheelchair, but really it's just showing that you can still have fun whether you're in a wheelchair or not. And kids don't even notice, to be honest.
So what do you say to people? How do you explain that Grandad's in a wheelchair?
Well, I don't really know, really, because I've always known that he's in a wheelchair, but really the other people don't really understand. So
I bet you don't even see it, do you? It's just Grandad, isn't it? Yeah. Well, my grandma was in a wheelchair too, so I get it too. How on earth do you go around? Because presumably you weren't an author beforehand.
No, absolutely not. No, I've never done anything like this before, but I'm not the first person who's had an injury like this who starts to do something different, because you don't know what you can do until you have a go. So, yeah, I've not done it before at all.
Well, it looks absolutely excellent.
It does, doesn't it?
And that's
great
Charles said,
stocking filler for Christmas there, no doubt.
Well, unfortunately, it's only in one bookshop at the moment. That's the book corner in Peace Hall. So to get one, you have to come to our website, which is grandadwheels.com.
Lovely.
And you can buy them there.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you.
Thanks.
Now, events are taking place across our region for Bonfire Night. Although some have been cancelled because of the recent poor weather, it's not deterred everyone.
Corinne Wheatley is at Storrs Hall in Kirkburton near Huddersfield.
Live in Huddersfield, thank you very much. So the big question is on everybody's lips, is it going to be dry for the big night tonight?
It does look as though it's going to be. There's a few heavy showers over the North York Moors. Elsewhere, it's dry. Let me show you a couple of for a time, and that is the forecast
Double-
tonight.
Double jumper.
What's wrong with that?
I've never heard you say that. It's a double jumper
You're
day.
always moaning how cold it is in the office.
I'll double jumper
You're
tomorrow, shall I?
going to be setting any bangers off later?
I may well be.
Oh, look forward to that. Okay. That's as far as we go. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your evening.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.